It turns out even top achievers often find themselves stuck, not because of a lack of motivation, but due to deep-rooted internal programming that mindset work alone can't always resolve. To explore this further, we're joined by Wendy Paquette from the team at Holographic Wellness Initiative. It's good to have you with us. High performers don't need more mindset work. I feel like there's so much of that going on. Apparently they need frequency, precision. Take us through a little bit about this.
Yeah, well, mindset work is almost like a buzzword these days because people don't know exactly what that means. So when they dive into it, what they find themselves doing is circling, and then they still feel that lag. So what they require is precision frequency, which means having such a clear vision as to where you're going that there's no doubt as to where the lag resides when it comes to mental programming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so. And again, there is all of that noise and you do end up in circles, perhaps doing and repeating behaviors that don't serve. But what feels like sabotage can actually be an outdated reality operating system. I think this is a really great way to put it. And Wendy, you do this quite well, is that our brains are operating systems in many ways. But take us through a little bit further.
Yeah, well, we often, as high performers, look at things that aren't working as possible self-sabotage, because that's what we've been taught, right? Mindset work actually revolves around that idea that you're sabotaging yourself because your programming's running and it's getting in the way, which is actually true, but it's not sabotage if you're unconsciously doing it. So it's repeated, outdated programming that gets to be updated, gets to be realigned with where you're actually going.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, self-sabotage often is tethered to trauma, beliefs. There's so many different avenues to all these sorts of things that so many people don't actually engage with and do the work with because we're all so busy. But you can't override old programming by force, I understand. It must be dissolved at the source, which I think is a really great way to put it. Tell us how we sort of go about starting that process.
Yeah, well, the source of you is coded, it's encoded. And how I know that is because I was gifted with the ability to see and read the frequencies. And it stands out like a sore thumb when it comes to the work that I'm doing. But if you just try to force yourself into changing your mindset, what you find is it'll be a very short-lived success. I mean, as short as 5, 10, even an hour in minutes time. Because when you go to the source of it, you got to change the entire programming, not just your momentary mental thought processing. So in order to get there, I walk people through a process. And I mean, anybody can do this. It's not just something I do. People pay me for speed. They don't pay because I'm the only one who can do it. But when you go to the source of it, you're able to identify where you've habituated yourself into believing something about yourself that's not actually true. And it's rooted from everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting stuff that I think a lot of people, especially in the business world, tend to just steer, I'll be fine, she'll be right, move through it. But when the inner program, so to speak, shifts, results apparently appear instantly. We're talking energy about people. It's interesting. And frequency is another thing that people sort of generally don't understand. But energetically, I think there is a way to get there.
Yeah, well, if you think of your body as, and I call it skin suit, our soul, communicates through the skin suit. It's a resonator. So when someone before you or a situation or a circumstance is presenting itself, your resonator, like a tuning fork, is going to go off. And if it goes off in a lower frequency emotion, like frustration, irritation, lag, anger, any of those lower frequency spaces, you tend to dive right in versus kind of step outside of it and look at that and go, wow, that's a program that can be shifted. Your emotions are indicators of any of the programs. And yeah, the great emotions that we have are indicators as well, but we don't want to touch those because we're enjoying them and they're joyful. But the lower frequency ones can be shifted, and that will change everything. The reflection is real in your reality. You'll feel completely different once you do.
I love the way you come at this stuff. It's very, so it is a psychological discussion in many ways, but I think it's so powerful to look beyond that, and perhaps there's a meditative aspect to it as well, Wendy. If people want to find out a little bit more about the work that you do, try and understand it a little bit further on that deeper level, where's the best place to go, and who are you working with at the moment? What kind of clients are you expecting to knock at the door?
Yeah, well, you can go to my website, wendypaquette.com. You'll find pretty much everything going on there. There's usually a live masterclass. You can jump in and hang out with me, and I can support you individually. I have higher level one-on-one, high touch, right down to on-demand learning called Accelerate, where you learn all the tools on your own and be able to put it into place. But who I'm working with right now is super high performers. And I mean, listen, they're either high performing and they're there already, or they're beginning and they know that's who they are. So I'm classifying from both ends of the scale. But I really enjoy working with high performing entrepreneurs, but also athletes and
Yeah.
teams. Because for some reason, teams, if they have a collective trajectory forward and we're removing all the programs, they can get to the cup faster. They can get to the wins faster because the mindset is everything.
Yeah, very well said. Wendy, I look forward to speaking to you again down the line and appreciate your time today on the program.
Thanks for having me.